on this episode to give Canelo Alvarez that work. I put on my social media, make sure you guys follow me there. Hashtag unpopular opinion. It is funny that the racist Cinnabons say that a 23-year-old Canelo Alvarez was too young and too green to beat a 36-year-old Floyd Mayweather, but last night we just witnessed a 24-year-old Bam Rodriguez who was too much for the veteran that he fought, 35-year-old Juan Francisco El Gallo Estrada. And this is an important point, and hear me loud and clearly. You got the racist fans, the Canelo fans, some of them, the ones that are racist at least, they have all these built-in excuses as to why Canelo was too young when he fought Floyd Mayweather. And they say these things as if Floyd Mayweather was this young, hot spring chicken, and they used Canelo being young and Floyd Mayweather being a veteran, and they switched it. They made it as a negative, meaning the older fighter had so much experience, had so much wisdom that it was unfair to put such a young Canelo Alvarez, who was this baby, in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. And the reason I brought up the Jesse Bam Rodriguez fight with Estrada is because oftentimes in boxing, that's what you see. You see the older fighter being fed to the young up-and-coming fighter, and boxing has the young fighter retire the old fighter, right? And I can give you countless examples of this, where you have a Danny Garcia, he beat Eric Morales, and then he did the rematch. Morales tested positive for clenbuterol, and then he spun him around and knocked him out, and then Morales was done, right? So the youth of Danny Garcia, the strength of Danny Garcia, especially in the second fight, played a factor. Even though the clenbuterol was in Eric Morales, his system, right? He was no match for Danny Garcia, the youth. Canelo, throughout his career, has made a career early on in his career of being the young guy up-and-comer that they were building, and they gave these names, these stepping stone names, to help continue to build Canelo. Guys like Carlos Baldomir. By the time, just think about it. If Floyd and Zab Judah were fighting Carlos Baldomir and they're in a different generation, imagine by the time Canelo came of age and was ready to fight Baldomir, Baldomir was legit 40 to 41 years old. Same thing when Canelo fought Shane Mosley. He fought Sugar Shane Mosley. He was 41 years old, and he's not really he never was really a 154 pound guy like that, right? So Canelo had a lot of youth, size, etc. Same thing with the Cotto fight. Cotto is really a generation before Canelo Alvarez. So by the time they fought, Cotto had been through wars with Zab Judah. He had been through these tough fights with Pacquiao and Margarito cheating him, Floyd Mayweather. By the time Canelo got to Cotto, you had Canelo was just big, strong, and he ended up, his size and youth kind of won the fight. But the Cinnabons, when it comes to Canelo, they have a built-in excuse of him being too young and too green when he lost to Floyd Mayweather. And I just gave you countless examples of fights where the young guy came in and was far too much for the other guy. Because you have to think of, if you're older, you have more miles on you, you have more wear and tear on you, you have more training camps on you, your reaction time, your speed, your reflexes, these things might have waned or slipped a little bit because you've been doing this. Or even passion. How hard is it to be a passionate fighter and have the same exact passion that you had? Like, imagine if you entered the league and you came straight out of high school. So you're like 18, 19 years old and you're in the NBA, right? You're 18, 19 years old, and then let's say you stay in the league and then you're 40 years old, 39 years old. Sometimes it's hard to have the same exact passion. That's 82 games a season times however many you've been in the league, 16 years or whatever. It's hard to keep that same level of passion. Plus your bones ache, you're getting older, your knees hurt, you've had injuries, you've had upsets, highs and lows in your career, things like that, traded teams. So it's hard to keep that same enthusiasm the older you get. So I wanted to make this point because the Bam Rodriguez win is a fresh win, and it's another example of what I'm saying. So the Canelo man fans can't refute Boxing Ego, the best in the business, and it's not even close. Bam Rodriguez, what I seen is he was too young, he was too dynamic, too athletic. The speed was destroying Estrada, and it was his time now. Estrada hadn't fought in a couple years as an older fighter. That's definitely not good. He hadn't fought since December 2022. Estrada is a legend in the game. He's a champion and champion-minded, but Bam Rodriguez, to me, it looked like a guy who's entering his prime or in his prime versus an old legend. And that could have been the case for Canelo versus Floyd Mayweather, but Canelo was not good enough to beat Floyd Mayweather. And I can go on and on and on and talk about all these examples that support what I'm saying. Now, there are fights like George Foreman and Michael Moore where the young up-and-coming heavyweight gets knocked out, but he was winning the fight, and that's a heavyweight fight where one punch can change everything. But more often than not, I would say the latter is the truth, where older names are fed to the person that they're trying to build in boxing as a passing of the torch. Like Oscar De La Hoya, he came in and took the cash cow stuff from Julio Cesar Chavez. Julio Cesar Chavez was the legend. He was the name. He was the guy that people respected. And then it was a passing of the torch fight when we seen Oscar beat Julio Cesar Chavez twice, right? And you also have fights like Joe Smith Jr. versus Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins was the aging veteran, and he got knocked out of the ring by strength, youth, power, athleticism, or whatever in the fight with Joe Smith Jr. So what I'm saying is how boxing frequently works out. And I've always hated how the Canelo fans had this built-in excuse on Canelo being too young is the reason why he lost to Floyd Mayweather. It's not why he lost. He lost because he's not on Floyd's level. And I think fights like Bam Rodriguez, how come Bam's only 24 years old and he beaten the guy with far more experience? Even when he got knocked down, it looked like a flash knockdown. He smiled, got right back up. When Estrada got knocked down, finally, he didn't get back up. But even the first time when he got knocked down, he looked more hurt. So youth usually prevails if you're good enough to beat the veteran name. Canelo wasn't. I was born ready.